welcome. This is the first ever Unify podcast, an interview with only subs, Kronicle89, the founder of Crondale. Super happy to have you, man, and looking forward to getting into it and hearing everything from your side. How's your day going?
Thank you for the warm welcome. Yeah, my day is going quite well. Finished with my in real life job earlier, and then an evening of feeding the kids, sorting them out, putting them to bed, and then we jump back into Web3, which I think is kind of like the normal lifestyle for a lot of people, actually. Whereas, some people do try to cram in Web3 whenever they can, in every free moment of their day. But yeah, overall, pretty good. And yeah, funny how you say that, you're a little bit nervous for this first episode. I'm feeling it a little bit as well. And, I speak to a lot of people. I do a lot of meetings with work, and yeah, I think it's normal because we're kicking off something brand new. So I think it's quite normal to feel like this.
Yeah, let's take it as a good sign. Definitely, it's one of those new things. So I think as we get into it, we'll relax a little bit and you'll start to vibe. But let's just talk about, the idea behind these spaces is so Unify. I'm YSE, by the way, the co-founder of Unify, and I'm going to be interviewing different people from different walks of life in and outside of Web3. I want to hear people's stories about how they are entrepreneurs, how they run their businesses, day-to-day lives, and how they entered Web3, if they have come into Web3, their journey, and just kind of get to know and share advice. We've all had these hiccups, mishaps, and we've also all gained a lot of really valuable experience that I think the listeners out there are going to, really be able to benefit from. So that's the premise behind these, what we call in podcast interviews. They will be available on all of our other social media platforms. We have a link in our Unify bio. Hop to Unify. That literally links out to every single place that you can find Unify. We've got blogs, we've got Discords, we've got websites, we've got wait lists, you name it. It's on there. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. So that's how you'd be able to listen back to these if you were not on Twitter. I know some people I've been speaking to just aren't on Twitter, and that's all good. So you'll be able to catch up with it there. And of course, Chronicle, you'll be able to share that and, benefit from that as well.
Yeah. You're everywhere. Unify is going to take over the world.
That's the idea in a really positive, I forget the word, but non-dominating way. In a very unifying sense where everybody wins. There's not just one dictator. But yeah, exactly. So, let's get into it, man. Like, first and foremost, I know that you've got your DAO. It's like a private DAO that you pay to be a part of called Crondale. I'm a member of that. I know AlphaSide brought me in. That's my co-founder. And it's been an absolute pleasure being in there. But before we get into that and only subs, let's just hear about how you got into Web3. Like, what was your first exposure to it? Was it crypto? Was it NFTs? And like roughly what time and what year was that?
Yeah, sure. So before I started my crypto and NFT journey, I'm still working. I have been working and still working as a self-employed IT consultant, in the Web2 space for your typical, large type of company. And I'm still doing that. So that's my full-time in real life job. And what I've done with that is I've managed to get some good opportunities that have fortunately been able to pay me well, and then with that excess amounts of profit from my work, I started building a a property portfolio. So on the side, as like a side hustle, I also run like a property portfolio, and that's how kind of I got my taste for building, future wealth, and trying to look after myself and look after my family. So I got a taste for that quite early on. And then property, it's fun, but it can get a little bit boring. And from then on, I started to look into try and get into something exciting that, can get my blood pumping a little bit. So,
Oh yeah,
what
crypto would do that. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So when I started to feel like this, that's when the whole COVID thing kicked off. The whole of the world started to go into lockdown. Everything started crashing. Stocks were crashing. And then what I ended up doing is that actually got my blood pumping. So I could feel people's fear, stocks crashing, dropping 50, 60, 70%. And my actual first investments to try and capitalize on that fear is I put a lot of money into stocks, and the stocks, after a couple of months when the government started printing money, stocks started to do well. But then I found that to be a little bit boring. And then in parallel, I started hearing things about Bitcoin, how Bitcoin had gone from 12K and dropped down to 3K and then back up to like 12K. So that's like, 400% gains in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
And then that naturally, got me interested in the crypto space, right? So before diving into it, this was, I'd say this was late 2020 and early 2021. I think Bitcoin was trading at around 16, 17, 18K. And I remember quite vividly, that's when PayPal made an announcement that they were onboarding crypto transactions. That pretty much kicked off the bull run as well. Remember, I think Bitcoin went from like 17K all the way to 20K and then 21K, and it was nonstop. And I actually got into Bitcoin right at that moment. So I think it was like 20K. And then all of a sudden, it was going from 20 to 22 to 23 to 24 to 30, all in the space of like, a couple of weeks. I think this was like early January. And then I said to the missus, I remember just sitting in bed, and I said to her, you know what, like, I need to drop everything that I'm doing, and I need to get into this, and I need to learn about crypto. So that was my first official taste, and like dipping my feet into it and pretty much jumping with both feet. And then, naturally, you put in a small amount of money, it's gone up a couple of 100%, and then you get the taste for it, and then you want to start putting in more money, and more money. And that's how I naturally kind of got into crypto. And then all throughout, 2021, I was quite, engaged, and the bull run definitely got the blood pumping. And then I think the NFT bull run started, I think, toward the end of mid 2021, towards the end of 2021. And I got involved with Ethereum based NFTs first. And then there was the whole palaver about, gas fees going ridiculously high. There was a mint pretty much every day, but then you'd have to spend like $500 on the gas fees. And then, I think Solana started to make an appearance as well from an NFT perspective. So I think like, 2022, early 2022, I got into Solana and Solana NFTs. And then since then, it's kind of been a natural journey of me just being involved in the space every single day, just trying to, stay up to date with everything that's gone on.
Yeah.
But that aside, I may have gotten involved in the bull run early on. And, I made some nice money, but I could have made, a lot more.
Oh, always is do. Always.
Yeah. So, I've had my taste for it, made a little bit of money, made a bit of profit, but it could have been life-changing profit in that last bull run. But everyone's made some mistakes, and we're back in it for round two.
Yeah, nice, man. What a fantastic journey and a great timeline for it. So, but overall, you were fairly not late because we were all extremely early, but on the scale of things, you came in at quite a good time to be late, if you know what I mean. And you've had some good exposure. You've seen the ups. Now you've seen the downs. Bitcoin, obviously, that rally was just like phenomenal, wasn't it? I think that shook the world really. And then the NFTs ran. I did a similar thing where I went into ETH and I just couldn't comprehend the gas fees. Like I paid them and I flipped some good NFTs, but I was like, the risk to reward ratio on these is almost not chartable, I'd say. In those, where you're paying almost double the mint fee just to mint.
Yeah.
So,
but then at the same time, you could still flip for profit. That's where it was like really bizarre, right? It could be a 0.1 ETH mint, let's say when ETH was $3,000, so that's a $300 mint. But then with the gas fees on top, add on another $600-700, you're in $1,000. But you could pretty much sell that for 2-3x pretty much the day or two after, and spot was insane back then. And to be honest, will we see those days again? Oh, I hope so.
yeah, I mean, I think we will. I think the art standard will change. The expectations of projects will change. I wonder if the PFP market is diluted, by this stage. So what will we see next? Maybe it'll be utility, infrastructure, brands coming in. I know ETH has got a lot of brands looking at it. So too has Solana, to be fair. And I just wanted to dig into a couple of points that we've gone into there, because obviously some of our listeners are not going to be Web3 natives, right? They're going to be people looking to get in and brands looking to understand what's going on. So let's just rewind a little bit and let's talk about gas fees. Like, what does gas fee represent to you? What does it mean? I need you had to learn that, right? So how did you differentiate that, and how would you explain that to someone who doesn't know anything about it?
Yeah. I mean, it's quite funny. You say you had to learn that, but when you're in that hyped moment, gas fees is something that you don't even know, but you'll accept them and pay them. So,
like terms and conditions.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
literally that. So it's like, the way that I see gas fees is on the blockchain. If you want to get a transaction done, let's say I want to transfer money from my wallet to your wallet, there's some kind of there's some kind of job that's involved, and that job comes at a cost for the actual blockchain to process that transaction and settle it within the history and proof on the blockchain. So that the gas fee is associated to getting that job done. However, that gas fee can be cheap or it can be considerably high depending on how busy that blockchain is. So in the peak of the Ethereum kind of NFT frenzy, when we're saying that fees were like $500-600, that's because there was so much activity, there was so much volume, like number of users was at an all-time high. So naturally the gas fees were incredibly high. But now during the bear market, gas fees on the Ethereum chain, you're looking at between $5 to $10 or something. It's still quite expensive if you think about it, but compared to its peak,
there's nothing. Yeah.
Yes, but then that's when Solana did really well as well from an NFT perspective, because then when these gas fees were peaking, some people couldn't afford them, right? Some people were sitting there with like $200 or $300 in their wallet trying to mint something. They're automatically ruled out because they can't afford the high gas fees. So that's when Solana made its debut, because the amazing thing about Solana's blockchain infrastructure and the way it all works, the gas fees are absolutely minimal. We're talking like, less than 1 cent. So all of a sudden, you've gone from paying $500 in gas fees on Ethereum to paying literally zero on Solana. And then, everyone rushed to Solana. That exploded for a short term, for a short while as well. And then, NFT started going a bit crazy on Solana as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I would see, the concept of gas fees.
Yeah, I think that's a great definition, man. Nicely put. And then to touch on PFPs. So, a PFP collection, as we refer to it, in my mind, is a picture. It's a picture of something that you can represent, almost an avatar that you can have. It represents you, that resonates with you, to showcase what you are interested in. And that was really and truly what people were buying, right? Was nice avatar pictures to show off that had extreme value. On ETH, Bored Ape Yacht Club is a prime example of that. On Solana, I guess D-Gods would have been a prime example of that. And so when we say a PFP collection, these were made up of 2, 3, 5, 10K collection sizes, and each one would have a slightly variation of a trait and background, and one of 15, 10, 5 base characters. Would that sum it up for you?
Yeah, definitely. And to add to that, the way that I would see a PFP NFT collection is you're representing a brand, right? So for example, let's take Bored Ape Yacht Club for as an example. At the peak of the NFT mania, they were selling for like $300,000-$400,000 a pop. So that, like, the bake itself is the brand, and the way that I can see it is, people want to be part of a brand. They want to show off to other people and say, look, I own and I represent this. It's like it's a flex, basically. If you went to a restaurant and you was wearing really cool, nice looking Rolex, and someone saw that, they're going to see you as this guy that wears a Rolex. I bet he's doing well in life. He's got money. That those kind of connotations that come with it. And I think NFT collections, PFP NFT collections, they're also representing that, but in the digital world. So if you see someone with a CryptoPunk PFP or a Bake PFP on Twitter, you're going to instantly, I wouldn't say respect them, because that's probably not the right word, because there are individuals that have these PFPs, but still do some immoral stuff. But you kind of see them in a different light. You can start to think that they've got a nice bit of money. I wonder what they do. So people like that type of identity and that kind of flex. And then with hundreds of thousands of different PFP collections, I guess they're all trying to do that. They're trying to offer their community members that type of flex, so that people can use them, and then overall the aim for the NFT collection to do well. So that's how I kind of see it as well.
Yeah, man, great definition there. And I think there's a direct correlation when you see a Rolex and about watches, how much that watch is, and that directly correlates to how much you think that person has, what they earn, where they are in life. And the PFP can be a very similar representation of that in the digital world. That's a great way to put it. And that really, leads nicely into community. You mentioned the brand representing the community, and the community wanted to represent the brand. And that's one huge factor of Web3 that I think really differentiates more so in the connective tissue sense, the more digital touch points, being closer to your community as a brand is much more viable in Web3 than it is in Web2. The people that represent that PFP collection are the members of that community. Just those members alone can attract new members of the community on a similar prestigious level, and also people who aspire to be at that level. So there's a lot to be said for leveraging the right branding, the right PFP with the right brand and community creates a very powerful set of values and I guess like leverageability within the ecosystem. Would you say that?
Yeah, I think, if a community creates good vibes and creates that sense of belonging, then naturally that is going to attract other people as well. And you get members that are part of, NFT communities who continue to buy into their own collection regularly. So, that's the concept of whales, NFT whales that will stock up on, from a 10K collection. They'll hold like, a couple of hundred or 1,000 pieces of their own collection because they believe in their community so much, and they're expecting their community to grow and get bigger and ultimately increase that price of entry into that community. And it's quite funny because a lot of people talk about NFT communities, and it's all about communities. A good community attracts people, and this and that. But at the end of the day, a lot of people, we have to be honest here as well, a lot of people are actually here to make money as well. So, what you'll find is that NFT collections and NFT communities, the ones that tend to do well are the ones that also reward their communities, whether that's financially or whether that's by, creating network connections, or whether that's by some kind of utility that the project offers. A lot of people do tend to forget that, and people assume that just because the NFT looks good, it demands a high price. And certain collections will do that, but they're the ones that were there first. They hold some kind of like a crypto punk.
The OGs.
Utilities. They don't. The ones that are OGs on your block on a specific blockchain, they will. They don't really have to do much. It's got the provenance behind them. But for the majority of cases, if holders are rewarded, then I think that will help grow the community and do well long term.
Yeah, I agree. And that being said, it's not also set in stone, that is it. We've been in space long enough to see some really promising communities come, and sadly, it's usually not on the community, it's on the founders and how they manage the funds within that community. We'd like to refer to it as a business. Sometimes they still go, and sometimes they fail. But we remember that 87% of IRL businesses fail as well. Sometimes it's slightly less faultless, shall we say, in Web3. But, I really like these aspects, and I think that moves nicely into your community, which is Crondale. Do you want to, give a share, some lowdown on that?
Yeah, of course, gladly. So, as I originally mentioned, when I joined the crypto space, like late 2020, early 2021, I basically threw myself into the deep end, right? So for the first 6 months or so, I was just chugging along, doing things myself, making mistakes and learning. And then towards like the mid 2021, I was in a position where I was quite knowledgeable, I think, especially from a technical perspective and how things work, within the crypto space. But then I was also seeing mainly on Instagram, because, me being in IT and property, Instagram was my main social platform. And I was seeing like random accounts like talking about crypto, and they were like giving, I wouldn't say like bad advice, but it was advice that wasn't correct. It was like, when you confidently tell someone the wrong answer, someone who is knowledgeable will know that's the wrong answer, but someone who is gullible will go off and take that as gospel, as the truth. So I was seeing a lot of that, and I thought to myself, hang on, like I could do something here with my knowledge. I could build a community. I can help these people out that are trying to get into, crypto and learn about it. And so that's when it pretty much started. So we're talking about October, I think about September 2021, I decided that I was going to launch a community, just like a like-minded community for people that want to learn about crypto, learn about NFTs, and just be in a community that is, with people that are on the same wavelength as them. And I also didn't want to, open up the community for free, because I didn't want, random riffraff.
Yeah.
So I made it, subscription based, just to filter out that kind of layer of people. And then slowly, I think over the next few months, it grew into like, 30, 40, 50 people. And today, we have about 110, 120 members in the community. And, with most communities, you have a certain percentage that will join and not be active. You'll have a certain percentage that join and just lurk in the shadows, just to, just read because, they don't want to talk, they're not confident, they're a bit shy. So they'll try and just soak up the knowledge. And then you have another percentage of people that are quite active, and it becomes like their main community for them to be active in. So, we've got a certain percentage of people that are quite active, and I feel like it's become a bit of a family. There's just people that, we can say whatever we want in there. If you want to get opinions on something, you say it out loud and people will give their thoughts. And it's kind of just progressed into that kind of close-knit type community vibe. And, recently we did that, where we did a meetup in Birmingham that you drove up.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, I won't go into details, but yeah, it was a fun day, fun evening. So it's got that kind of vibe, that friendly meetup vibe. But overall, I've built this community. It's been live for nearly 2 years now, and it's a really great accomplishment for myself. And I've seen people join that were had no knowledge in the crypto space whatsoever, and are now walking around repping a DeGod's PSP. I can see Avi in the audience.
Big up, Avi. Yeah.
And I'm proud of people like that have just, crypto is a scary space for a lot of people, and I just wanted to offer like a helping hand, because I didn't want people to join and get scammed or get rugged, that kind of stuff. Or sometimes you can't avoid getting rugged in the mania of certain things, but you want, if you are going to be a victim of some kind of rug or something, you need to be following good security operations as well. And that's what I wanted to implement, and I wanted people to focus on, because it's very easy to put security aside, and not care about security because you find it a bit of an inconvenience. So yeah, built this community, and yeah, it's going strong. And and I've got like a link in my Twitter bio if anybody wants to go check it out.
Yeah, man. Nice. And so, a couple of questions around the community. I really love the ethos behind why you did it. I think there is a huge amount of, it's partially misinformation. We call it influencers, where they are buying stuff, paid to say stuff, fill their bags and dump on their lovely community members, and I think what you saw, and you wanted to cut through that and just bring some honest advice. And really and truly, I think it's one of those, you've cultivated such a community there where it's almost, you're not dishing out advice anymore. It's almost like, it's like you say, a family where everyone is just sharing. You know, if someone drops in a mint link, maybe they're new, maybe they don't really know what's going on, it will instantly be informed that don't mint that, or do your research, or go and check out more, or one of the members will, and then come back and say, yeah, that's looking good. And the same with whitelist, you know. So let's, before we get into whitelist stuff and pre-sale stuff, and just explain a little bit around that. I noticed in your community, you have a lot of blue chip channels, right? So, you know, I can see in there, you've got Alpha Pharaohs, you've got Code Canvas, Cypress Robs, D-Gods, and Utes, SMB. Tell me how that Sharkify, tell me how that went, how did that sort of develop for you? Or how did you develop that? Was that like an aim, or did it happen naturally? Just, you know, dive into that a bit.
Yeah. So that kind of happened naturally. So what you're referring to there is in the Discord server, in the community's Discord server, there's a separate section for NFT gems, and under that section, there's a channel for top NFT collections that, you know, myself or some other of the community members are holders of. So this type of section, it kind of it progressed naturally. So originally, before this came along, we had some simple channels, you know, NFT chat channel, right? So, you know, when NFT started getting popular, you know, that channel was naturally going to be very, very active. So all of a sudden you had some days, you know, 10, 15, 20 people talking about different NFT collections altogether, and it was quite hard for people to keep track of and have conversations about specific collections, because one person might be a holder of one collection and the other might not be, so he might not be interested in, you know, the content about that. So then naturally it led into this NFT gems section. So each channel was dedicated for what we class as top popular blue chip type NFT collections, and then each channel had their own section. So if anybody wants to talk about a specific one, they find the respective channel and then, you know, have a chat in there. And, you know, over the past 12 to 18 months, the channels themselves as well. So the NFT gems category probably came along about 12 months ago. So over the past 12 months, it's kind of gone through iterations as well. So naturally, you know, a collection might be very popular at the time, and we're all minted it, and we see that, you know, the hype's wearing off, so we'll sell it, and then, you know, that channel gets removed and gets put into an archive section as well. So we're kind of like, you know, iterating as we go along. So that was the kind of thinking around that.
Nice. Yeah, great explanation. And you know, so it was almost like a natural evolution or requirement in order for people to better appreciate the community you were building, because you're absolutely right. A Discord can become extremely overwhelming, even in a singular, talking about one singular project. The minute you start throwing 5 holders of 10 different projects in there, you know, you're scrolling back and forth between multiple messages. So I really like the way you've done that. And it was one of the really appealing things for me when I joined, to be able to dip in and out. And you see Alpha, you see the founders in there, you see people who've been in the community a long time in there, and that becomes a really powerful thing, I think, for everyone in the CronDAO community. So
yeah, and it's a good thing that you mentioned Alpha Pharaohs as well. So shout out to Alpha Pharaohs, and we've got a community member, NFT Tim, and he's actually one of the founders or the co-founders of Alpha Pharaohs. So NFT Tim, you know, he joined the CronDAO community as someone new to the space, and he, you know, showed really big appetite to learn everything to do with crypto and NFTs, and he then, with that knowledge, went off to launch his own NFT collection. So that was a really great achievement for him. And also shout out to my brother as well, Harmy. He joined the community as well. Me and him actually started the community together initially, and he's gone off to launch with his co-founders Blocksmith Labs as well, and that's doing really, really well, and they're launching the Migos collection in a couple of months' time. So for me, from my perspective, to see these people coming in with no knowledge and then going off to work, in multi-million-dollar type ecosystems is it's like I can't even comprehend that, if that makes sense.
Oh,
It's
100%.
incredible.
And I think, big up to everyone you've just mentioned. NFT, huge. He will come on the show. I'm hoping to get him on the show. Same as Harmy, I'd love to get him on the show, and some of the co-founders, because these are projects that, in the NFT space, projects majoritively come and they go, and they ride a hype wave up and a FOMO, and then they kind of trickle off, usually because they haven't made the correct, what would you say, like the correct business plan, I guess, for building a sustainable thing, especially with the lack of royalties now. So, these guys are doing really special things, and I hope to get them on because I want to share with the listeners some great projects that you can just come into. And obviously, this is not financial advice. Do your own research, but there are certain projects you can come into, and you can be fairly confident that the team there has got extreme experience in and out of Web3, running businesses, and in the sections and realms in which that they focus their NFT collections. So, you are essentially the mother hen that is nurturing these little eggs and then letting them out into the world, and they are changing that world. And I think Web3 is a place, if you are hungry and willing to learn, listen to advice, and you find good people like Chronicle and like Crondale, you can really, really excel in this space. It's super young. There's so much talent, hidden talent in there. And that's one of the reasons that, I built Unify and AlphaSci built Unify, is to showcase this talent, because it is hard to find. And Unify is going to simplify that. Before we go into Unify, and I want to get into what, although I was in the Crondale and we obviously had the IRL meetup, which was outstanding, it was something else that really brought us to this interview, right? Which was you launching Only Subs. And do you want to give me and give the listeners like the lowdown of Only Subs? And this is transitioning now from the Crondale being your community, your subscription model community, and this is now like what the business I believe that you're rolling with and hoping to build and scale as we get these new users coming into Web3.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so really well put. So something I launched earlier this year is something called Only Subs. And the thinking behind it is that I would consider myself as having built a successful community in my area, like-minded investors from, different asset classes. So that's kind of my, niche for my community. And if people want to join that and they want to be part of that, they can join my community. And then it got me thinking, there's people out there that probably want to build their own communities. And first of all, they don't know where to begin, or they could ask for advice on YouTube, they could ask for advice on Google, but those kind of answers that you get, that kind of research, it doesn't actually help you. It doesn't particularly guide you. So what I want to do with Only Sub is to help other people build their own communities. And it's up to them if they want to monetize it. It's up to them if they want to open it up to the public. That's down to them. But it puts that community founder or set of founders in a position that they can, build their own communities with helping blocks that I will offer. So one of the things that Only Subs does is it delivers like a pre-built community setup for you, based on Discord, and have its own sign-up page. So basically like a complete A to Z type infrastructure to get you up and running with your community. And one of the things I focus on is having like using my experience that I built up, having built and run Crondao for nearly 2 years, and packaging that up into almost a kind of plug and go type setup for someone that wants to do the same. So they don't have to worry about, what categories in my Discord I should have, what channels I should have, what descriptions there should be, how it should be linked to a sign up page, all of that technicality, the complex technical bits, I remove and I deliver it via Only Subs. So that's the service that is being offered. And also in parallel, that not something that not a lot of people talk about are the security aspects of building these type of communities. So, you've been in this space, you've been in this Web3 space for quite a while, and, the people that are listening here, they've seen hacks take place in these Discord servers. Let's say an NFT project was about to go live for a mint. All of a sudden, one of the moderators' credentials get hijacked, and they post a link to a different website that ends up, draining people's wallets. So these type of security considerations is something a lot of people forget. And if you are building your own community, you're going to be, if you was to do it yourself, you'll probably make security like a something you'll put to one side, or you'll say, oh, that's not needed. I'll think about it later, because you're juggling building everything else. So one of the other aspects of Only Subs is not only does it deliver a fully built community, it also focuses on security aspects as well, to ensure that the chances of your server being hijacked are very, very low. So that's one of the aspects that I concentrate on. So in a nutshell, Only Subs is a service to essentially bootstrap building of your community.
Love it. Yeah. And so I can pay testament to that. So look, let's just get into Unify a little bit. So Unify is built from a place where two of us, myself and Alpha Site, have been in the space. We've worked among many different communities in different roles, from marketing, community management, community collaboration, and everywhere in between, advising, etc. And one consistent thing that we have seen is there's a lot of talent, a lot of talent locked in Web3 that are unable to gain the exposure, not only that they deserve, but they need, especially since the loss of royalties. Royalties being, you used to get paid a percentage of every sale through your secondaries in your NFT collection. The minute those have gone now, where are you getting long-term revenue from? Where are you gaining your sustainability from? And we believe, Unify believes, that sustainability comes from lead generation. And lead generation for your utility, for your skill sets, and for your needs within your community. So we are building a platform that will allow you to showcase that, generate leads, incorporate your community. And in the process of doing that, I did exactly some of the things that Chronicles just mentioned, which is I went to YouTube. How do I build a Discord? I'd never built a Discord. I'd been in and out of thousands of them. I'd never built one. So I went to YouTube and I built one, and I'm not out here saying it's difficult to build a Discord. You can build one fairly easily. It'll take you a few hours if you're semi-technically proficient, and a lot longer if you're not. And you can build one and it'll look all right. But in reality, like anything in this world, there are layers to the simplicity. And I think you made a really good point about the security aspect, because once I had built it, I was like, oh, this looks nice. Channels, people are joining, they get their roles, different colored names. This is awesome. But in the back of my mind were all of those times I'd been in a Discord, moderator's just been hacked. Don't click any links. 10 people drop in. I've clicked the link. I'm in it, and now my wallet's been emptied. And that was something that was really, really playing on my mind. And on top of that, what is Unify about? Unify is about unifying not just Solana, but every blockchain, and allowing everyone on chain who's building and committed to sustainability a place to showcase and excel. And we believe in putting our money where our mouths are. And if we're onboarding these people, like Only Subs, as partners onto our platform, we should also be using them. So so Only Subs built Unify's Discord. As I say, I built mine. I got Con to come in. He had to look through it. He said, yeah, well done. But you've got like 75 different color names. Like what's where, who's doing what, And I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like it didn't tell me that individually, And so instantly I saw this use case, right? Where, okay, I know what I'm doing in the space, and Chronicle has saved me probably millions in terms of if a mint link was dropped as a drainer, as well as the brand. Can you imagine if you're some big brand and you come into the space, you create a Discord yourself, you've got no security, and then boom, your first mint is a drainer link or something, or worse, it gets completely hijacked. There is a huge need for simple, easy packages for non-Web3 natives to be able to come, buy, implement, and forget about, right? So obviously, as things evolve, when you're doing a Discord, you realize, okay, actually, I'd like a different channel because I am going to have a closed section where only certain members can see it. And in order to be the most secure, Only Sub set me up, or Chronicle set me up as not even an admin. So I can't even change my own Discord in Unify, right? But what that does is it puts this, it's almost like having 2FA on 2FA. So now, even if I get hacked, the only thing they can do is nothing, like they can't post any links because I can't even post any links. They can't do anything because I can't do anything. So that gave me, it gives you a sense of security and being able to share that without having to sort of look over your shoulder every time. And for me,
that is really nicely put.
Yeah, for me, it was like something that clicked in my mind. We knew what we were doing with Unify, but it's stuff like that where you can now come in. I have verified Only Subs for you, right? For everyone that wants to come into Web3 and build a community, I can lay my name on the line and say, you can go to Only Subs and you will have a secure, professional, outstanding Discord made. And then if you need to make changes to it, all I did was message Tron, and him himself or one of his team came in, and boom, it was there within like less than half an hour, and this is weekends, this was evenings, and it was just amazing. And this is ongoing. So I really think there is a huge value in being able to access this sort of service. And this is just one of the many, many services that we are not only verifying for our users, but we are then allowing individuals like yourself to build a sustainable business in Web3, where the lead generation aspect, which normally you would have to rely on paid ads, but you would still need a good landing page and everything else. We are now providing the platform where that lead generation happens. And not only does it happen just through us, but every member of the community can sign up and can go and share Only Subs. And if they get a client and that client buys, they will get a commission, and it gets paid out fully on chain automatically every month. And I think those two things combined breed a really powerful new era in Web3.
Yeah, I just want to add, I really love what you're building there as well, because, Unify is at the center of it. And then you've got your partners such as Only Subs. And it's not just Only Subs, you've got your other partners that are offering other types of services as well. So one thing that I love about it is, just to give you an example, you could approach certain Web2 businesses that have been scared to take the leap into Web3. And why have they been scared? It's because, Web3, crypto itself, is the wild, wild west, isn't it? So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of knowledge everywhere. There's, stuff being shared all over Twitter, blog posts, but there's no actual central landing page. So if a Web2 business wants to come along and expand their services into Web3, they can speak to someone like Unify and say, listen, I need these three services of your landing page. We want to build this Discord community. We want to use this service to set up a company, offshore. We want to do this. We want to do that. And then because you've verified these services, you can assist them. They can, spend instead of spending 6 months of their own resources trying to learn and how to do this themselves, they instead spend 1 or 2 months doing it, and allow them to spend the rest of the time focusing on what their core business is all about. So yeah, it's a really cool concept, and yeah, really like what you're doing there.
Nice one, man. Yeah, we feel the same. Like for us, is in terms of our like Web3 use case, is we just want to provide sustainability, and we believe lead generation replaces royalties. Right? You can generate consistent leads and make consistent sales, be it on your merch, be it on your services like Only Subs, be it on your products like Reposa Coffee, for instance. If you are getting leads generated, then Web3 is doing well, right? Like you're doing well. What we want to do is then turn around and face Web2 and go, right, look, here is a place with a familiar setup, right? So you set up like you would an Amazon seller page. You can generate everything in a number of minutes, it takes a few clicks. But now you're exposed to Web3, you can create loyalty reward programs. You've got full analytics dashboards showing you who your top performing community members are and allowing you to reward them. And then you are shown and almost handheld your way into this, like you say, by our verified partners. And obviously there's going to be social proof all over Unify. So if you're performing well, you're going to have loads and loads of reviews. You can have loads of community members promoting you. They're going to see stuff converting and people are making commission and everyone is happy. We've got Lyco, I see down in the audience, One Dope Kids. Lyco has got a fantastic creative studio, another one of our partners, allowing you to literally generate. Lyco's a fine artist. He's a contemporary fine artist, and his creative studio, Lyco's Atelier, allows you to generate NFT collections, create social media marketing campaigns, fully managed with content creation. So you're able to come here and you have to go click, 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 right? Not even do anything. And now you've got an NFT collection, a Discord, a loyalty reward program, all in Web3, and it's all like free, like we're not charging you to sign up. We take transaction fees and what have you, but the idea here is to be a value add and no brainer to every business, every individual, every creative brand that is in or outside looking to get into Web3. So in a nutshell, that's what we're trying to achieve. And Leica will be on the podcast. All of our partners I'm hoping to bring on, and we onboarding new people almost daily at this stage.
That's amazing.
Thanks, man. It's been like
mic drop.
Yeah, mic drop. My first live shill. Normally I'm doing this, one-to-one with businesses and individuals. So yeah, that was a big moment for me, man. Just, big shout to everyone who showed up. I see you all out there. Mad respect. This is our first one. To be honest, me and Chronicle spoke earlier. And we was like, probably no one's going to show up. Probably just going to be me and you. Probably we're just going to talk and do an interview. But we've actually had a few listeners. Vish, Cyberfrog, my man. We met at the IRL. So this has been an absolute pleasure. I mean, I'm feeling like this is a good place to wrap it up. I'm just looking at my notes. I don't think there's much more to run through. I mean, you have been fantastic with Only Subs and Crondale. Oh, that was it. That's what I wanted to end on, was just go through your touch points, your social touch points. So where can people get hold of Cron? Where can people find Only Subs, and just give them a lowdown on that?
Yeah, my main point of contact is my Twitter, and that's at Kronicle89, or you can contact me on Discord directly, and my username is Chronicle. But a link to join the Cron DAO, it's actually in my Twitter bio, so you can click it, check it out, and if anybody's interested, then if you've got any questions, just drop me a message. So all good, thank you.
Absolute pleasure. And if you want to get in touch with Unify, you're interested in being an early launch partner, or you just have some questions, we have a link in our bio on Twitter that is hop to Unify, and that literally is essentially a LinkedIn. So I prefer it to LinkedIn. It's super cool. It's made by Wix, and yeah, you can go through there, and it literally has all of our social platforms there. We have a waitlist website that is Unify.us, which I love because it's Unify Us. So that was an awesome buy. I'm really surprised that was available. There are various other Unify domains that we've got that will all be pointing to the same place. If you go to that domain, you can sign up to the waitlist there. That will prompt you to join our Discord. Obviously, in the Discord is where you get the most up-to-date information, partner announcements, everything else. And yeah, I mean, I guess I could open it up to see if there's any questions, but I mean, it's all family in the audience. So if you do have any questions, I mean, feel free to sort of raise your hand. Otherwise, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, and this will be available as a recording on all of the podcast streams, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. Thanks for that prompt, man. So yes, so again, money where our mouths are. What was the phrase that we were discussing earlier? Practice what you preach. Unify lives by that. And we want to bring as much value to everyone that we bring on here. So we shall be sharing this podcast in short form content. So that will be broken down into like 35, 40-second videos with subtitles that will go on our YouTube shorts, and it will go in our TikTok. It will also go in full length on our YouTube as a main video, and Cron and Only Subs will be tagged across all of those, because not only are we trying to gain exposure for ourselves, but we want to gain exposure for all of our partners as well. I will share the link to those in Crondale, of course, and they'll be available within the Discord, our YouTube, TikTok, all of that. Instagram is also available through the Unify, hop to Unify link in our bio, as well as Discord. Yeah.
Awesome.
Fantastic. All right then. Well,
you've been a really good host on your first show.
Fantastic then. Thank you so much. I'll feel like I'm stuck. Yeah. Fantastic.
Nice one. You got a big smile on your face.
Yeah, mate. Huge one.
I can feel it from
excellent, man. That's what we love. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you to everyone who's listening. And eventually I will learn how to play music so I can do a cool music outro. But for now, it's just going to be my job, and we are out of here. Thanks again, guys.
Boom, mic drop. Thank you, man. See ya.